Hey there, welcome back. Josh Hardy here with Hardy Brothers Outdoors. I'm sitting on my 270B John Deere backhoe. It's detached from the 2032R right now. But one of the questions that I continue to see on some of the forums is, should I add the backhoe to my new tractor purchase? And there's a couple things that I thought I would share from my experience in the 3 years that I've had the backhoe, how I've used it, where I thought I might have used it, things that I like about it, things that I don't like about it, but also show you the tractor in the backhoe in use. So I'll have some of that later on in the video. So first of all, I paid $8,000, added it on to my original tractor purchase, and the good news about adding it at that time is you can get it as part of your financing deal. So I was able to get an 84-month 0% financing. I think I had to put like $1,500 or $2,000 down to get that 84 months 0%, which wasn't a big deal. And that's actually one of the things about adding attachments early, so you can just roll them in versus paying cash for them later, whatever your preference is. I like the idea of free money. Obviously, I know there's some cost in there, but having it with the tractor early on, I just went ahead and made the decision to use it. Now I have, and at the time I had 70 acres that I was managing. I have 150 acres now. I've used the backhoe across that property quite a bit. So for me, I think it was a good purchase to add the backhoe. So here's some things that I like about it. One, it's nice to have whenever you need it. So I know you can go rent a Traco or some other sort of backhoe for big projects, but I've got it here. Whenever I need it, I can go pick it up. So far as the digging capabilities, it's worked fine for me. I have no complaints on the power. I've had to take a little bit of time to get used to how to set the RPMs, and I think I'm somewhere around 18 to 20 RPMs is where I find it to move the smoothest. I can get a little jerky if you don't. Funny thing is, it's easy enough to learn. I mean, there's 8 directions that you have to learn with these handles, and every time I use it, it takes a little bit of getting used to. But it's easy enough to learn. I had my 8-year-old son on it not too long ago, trying to make the summer to remember for him. And I had him on here using it for a couple minutes, and he got a real kick out of that. He did a pretty good job. I mean, it was a little jerky, but you know, for the first time getting on it and trying it, and being 8 years old, it worked pretty well. So overall, there's no quality issues that I have with it. I really like the ease of putting it on and off of the tractor. I've only had a few challenges with that, and that has been the bucket has rolled. So the front end lifts up, and then I have to come in with a floor jack it back up so that I can get the tractor to connect back to it perfectly. Between that and figuring out when the hydraulic lines still had pressure in them, how to get those out and free some of the pressure so they'd reconnect, really the only challenges I've had. So I know that the smaller version on the 1025R and the 2025R have a different setup to where people put them on dollies and move them around. This one's not going to work like that, but it's pretty nice. What do I not like about it? Part of the disconnecting it is just having room to store it. So that's not a feature functionality problem. It's just a reality of having this size piece of equipment and making sure that you've got a place to put it out of the way and it doesn't take up too much space. I'm building a bigger shed right now, which is part of the project we'll show later, is where I'm digging out a retaining wall, and that has been we're gonna have more room in there to store the attachments. So what do I not like? I would say probably the main thing that has given me problems, and again, this is not a John Deere flaw or a challenge with this actual piece of equipment. It is the difference between what I perceive the value of a track hoe versus a backhoe, and that's the ability to maneuver and move and dig and move more quickly and move on uneven terrain a little bit easier than the process of setting up the backhoe. putting down the side stabilizers, the range of motion for moving the dirt. So I was digging the retaining wall, and I started like in the middle of it, and I realized I was putting dirt on both sides and I was going to have to move there next. And I ended up moving stuff with the front end loader, but the reality is what I figured out was I'd start at the far right and I'd move all my dirt to the right, and then I'd move the tractor over, move more dirt, and so go straight down the line. That worked pretty well. Now up in the woods, where I'm working on some drainage issues that I have on a couple of the access points to the back piece of the property, I've found myself in situations where I can't actually get the tractor into position to dig the trenches the way that I need to dig them. So my perception is with a track hoe, with the tracks, I could roll across the hole and line up the way I wanted to, and that might be easier. Have I used $8,000 worth of investment so far? I'm going to say no. So how many times could I have rented a track hoe? I don't know what the daily cost is. So let's just say it's 500 bucks or something. It's probably not quite that much. But there's the time to go pick it up and return it, the timetable and the availability and all of those things. So who knows, maybe I would save significantly more time using that. But really, that's the only thing that I don't like about it, is just the maneuverability and the ability to move the dirt, the range that I can move it. I don't have the articulating thumb yet for it. I'd like to get that. So let's talk a little bit about how I've used the backhoe. I've used it now 3 times to dig a perk hole for the health department for septic tank evaluations. Property that I sold adjacent to me for the neighbors, I had to do a perk test on that. The property that I have now for the new building that I'm building, I had to dig 2 different holes on the property. That was like a 3-foot deep hole, and I wasn't trying to make a huge disruption in the area, so that worked out pretty well. Hindsight, I might have been able to use my post hole digger, so I'll ask them the next time I do one of those. But that saved me from having to pay somebody to come in to dig that hole, be on their schedule, and all of that. So I found that very convenient. I also recently, I've been on this property for 6 years. I was just having folks out to clean out the septic tank, and the septic tank here had been buried, and I had no idea really where it was. So I spent a lot of time kind of scratching around with the backhoe and then tapping around until I found the actual holding tanks and was able to uncover those. So they were probably under 2 feet of dirt, and I was able to use the backhoe to kind of clean that off and then also lift the lids off of it. So that was pretty helpful. And then, as I mentioned, ditch work and road work back here in the woods. The biggest project has been this retaining wall, which so far I think I've got about 40-50 feet of wall, and I had to dig below myself because there was a building to the left, and try to dig out that hole. It wasn't perfect, and it was a little challenging, but it was significantly cheaper than letting somebody else dig it out by hand. So I saved, I'd say probably $1,000 or more in labor to have had that dug out, and we're still going to add about another 80 feet to that wall. So looking forward to be able to do that, dig it out so we can have footers laid and then put our retaining block in. So those are the ways that I've used it. I expect to do more drainage work around here. I have a pond. I have a lot of different crossings on the property that get clogged up. I need to drive around and clear some of those. So I'm happy with the product. I'm happy that I bought it. Should you get it? I think you really got to think about how you're going to use it, where you're going to use it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think there's a guy in this world that wouldn't like to just get on one of these and dig. And it's fun. And I always joked with my wife that we're going to have holes all over the property just because I need to go dig a hole. So the backhoe is pretty cool. For $8 grand, I know you're already into the tractor for somewhere in the 30 range once you've got, or high 20s once you've got the different attachments that you want. So I think it really comes down to your use. If I had a 5-acre property, I don't know. I mean, I guess again it comes back to if it's in your budget, and it's kind of now or never, if you want to get it in on the financing. The other thing is, have I used the 8,000? No, but I would imagine that it holds pretty good value as long as I keep it in good shape. So I don't have to use the full trade-off value. So I like the 270B. I recommend it. So I think we'll break here, show some more of the digging that's been done, and then when we come back, we'll wrap things up. Hey, thanks for watching. If you haven't hit that like or subscribe button yet, please do so. We've got a lot more videos. I have a whole playlist of 2032R videos. If you haven't seen the ones about the loose axle bolts, check that out. We finally got to a resolution with Deere. They now have a DTAC case number open, so if you've had the loose bolt issue or if you're not aware of it, please check it out. I've seen a number of people in the last couple weeks who have had axles falling off. I fortunately didn't have that. But check it out. Make sure you stay safe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and we'll talk to you later.